Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. Today we're heading to 1940s French Algeria
Mm.
to unpack a book that's basically a rite of passage. Albert Camus' The Stranger.
Oh, a classic.
It really is. And I have to admit, this one sat on my list for a while, but
Yeah,
wow, let me tell you, it grabbed me right from page one, and it really stayed with me.
I can imagine.
So that's what we're diving into today, all the ideas beneath the story,
Yeah.
and especially this main character, Mersault, who just kind of breaks all the
He
rules.
really does.
So get this, the book opens with a death. But here's the thing. It's not the death that's really shocking. It's how our guy Mersault reacts to it. So picture this. He gets a telegram, super short, to the point, mother passed away.
Right. Heavy stuff.
You'd think grief, shock, something, right? Mersault. He's more caught up on when the telegram got there, how inconvenient.
Camus doesn't waste any time, does he?
Not at all. Throws us right into it with a character who's, well, let's just say, not on the same wavelength as everyone else.
Totally different wavelength.
And that sets up the whole vibe going forward. When Mersault goes to his mom's place, he barely reacts.
Yeah.
Seeing her, everything, there's this emotional distance that's almost, I don't know, unsettling.
You said it.
Like he's watching everything, but not really feeling it.
Well, it's like Camus is challenging us, right, on what we expect about grief, how we think it should look. Mersault doesn't perform his emotions the way society wants him to, and that makes people uneasy.
Right. And this is just the start. In the days after the funeral, Mersault just carries on. Starts dating this woman, Marie, goes to the beach, like totally carefree, even gets tangled up in his friend's drama.
All the while, this indifference hangs about him.
Exactly. And there's this one part that always stuck with me. They describe Mersault eating a hard-boiled egg at his own mother's wake.
Oh, wow.
It's such a small detail, but it just hits that disconnect between how he's supposed to feel and how he actually feels.
Classic Camus, using these everyday things, these little details to show us just how absurd it all is. Being human, I mean. It's like he's saying, look, here's this guy living in a world that often feels meaningless, and he's not afraid to admit it.
Which brings us to the core of Camus' philosophy, absurdism. Now, for those who need a little refresher.
Basically, absurdism recognizes that we crave meaning, purpose, right? We want the world to make sense. But the universe, it doesn't really care about our need for that. It just is.
So it's not about being, like, gloomy or giving up.
Not at all. It's about recognizing that clash, that tension between what we want meaning and the universe not giving it to us, and then choosing to live authentically anyway.
And that's what's so interesting about Mersault, right? He's not trying to force meaning onto a world that maybe doesn't have any. He just accepts it, the absurdity, and lives on his own terms.
Which is kind of a rebellious act, if you think about it.
Totally. He's not bound by what everyone expects,
Mm-hmm.
not by those pressures to grieve a certain way or experience the world a certain way. He's just living in the moment, even if that moment seems, I don't know, boring or even absurd to other people.
And that's what makes him such a fascinating character.
It makes us question our own ideas about life, about death, about what it really means to live. But here's where things get wild, like you won't believe it. Mersault, he gets caught up in this whole chain of events, like a confrontation on the beach, the sun's blazing, a split-second decision, and bam, he's facing a murder charge.
And there it is, the story shifts from pondering life's meaning to a full-on critique of the system, what society expects, the whole legal shebang.
No kidding. Camus doesn't let us off easy. He drops us right into the courtroom, tense, you can feel it. The heat, the fans, that weight of judgment on Mersault.
And how does he describe it all?
I'm almost afraid to ask.
Same detached tone, like always, as if he's watching himself on trial, not playing the part of the accused, not how they want him to.
Right. Speaking of expectations, let's get into those testimonies. Because it's clear, the people talking, they're hung up on him. The warden, the caretaker, folks who knew him. It's not even about the crime so much anymore.
Such a clever move by Camus, laying bare the hypocrisy.
Isn't it?
They're saying he's cold, unfeeling, didn't cry at his own mother's funeral, as if that's worse than anything else.
It's like they're using his personality against him.
Yeah.
Can't understand it, so they judge it, which might just destroy him.
And then there's the whole son thing.
Ah, yes, the son. Here's where Camus hammers home that absurdity.
What do you mean?
When they push Mersault, why'd you do it?
Mm-hmm.
He blames the sun, the Algerian sun, blinding, intense.
Sounds crazy out of left field, right?
But think about it. Everything we've said, universe doesn't care, life's random, no real order.
Starts to make a messed up kind of sense. Exactly. What he's saying in his own way is, it was all circumstance, the heat, the moment, not some big plan. He's acknowledging the randomness, no destiny, no purpose.
And that's terrifying for most, right? Especially in courtroom.
Yeah.
They need reasons. They need to punish based on their rules.
But for Mersault, it's freeing, in a way.
He's not making excuses. Not really. He's stating what he sees as the truth, plain and simple.
And by doing that, he shows how absurd it all is. The system wants answers, wants to punish not just acts, but who you are inside.
It's like he's saying, fine, you want a why. The sun made me do it. But deeper down, it's like sometimes there is no why. No neat answer that'll make us comfy in a world that's just chaos.
Oh.
So there's Mersault, sentenced to death, facing the final curtain. And it's going to sound weird, but this is where I really connected with him.
It's not what you'd expect, right? You'd think despair, anger, begging for another chance.
Nope, not our guy.
He throws us another curveball.
Totally. Instead of yelling about injustice, he finds this, strange peace. Accepting it, the absurdity, focusing on the little things in prison, the routine.
Very existential, I'd say. No more meaning, just being.
Exactly. And there's this scene the prison chaplain visits him. Right?
Trying to offer comfort, the afterlife, all that.
And Mersault just loses it. Anger, frustration, the whole deal.
It's the chaplain pushing meaning onto him, you know?
Sure.
A ready-made solution to the big questions. And Mersault's been rejecting that his whole life.
And in that outburst, facing the chaplain's faith, it's like a light bulb. He realizes freedom isn't about finding meaning where there might not be any. It's about embracing that the universe doesn't care and being okay with it.
Bleak comfort, maybe, but powerful stuff.
Right. Mersault accepts that his life, his death, none of it matters to the big picture.
It's terrifying, but also kind of freeing, wouldn't you say?
Totally. He lets go of needing control, needing a reason for it all. And in that surrender, he finds some peace.
Exactly. In those final moments, facing everything, that's when Mersault truly gets the absurd. Even welcomes the thought of people hating him at the execution. Proof that it's all random anyway.
It's hard to wrap your head around, but there's this honesty to it. Camus, through Mersault, makes us face these tough things about life, death, purpose.
The Stranger doesn't give you easy answers, does it?
Not at all. Holds up a mirror to how absurd it all is, makes us question our own beliefs.
Why do we search for meaning like we do?
It sticks with you, this book. Makes you think, what if? What if we stopped searching so hard and it's just a word? What would we rage against then? That's the sign of a great book, don't you think? The kind that sparks these conversations.
Absolutely. Long after you've closed the book.
And on that note, folks, I think we've done our deep dive for today. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope it made you think. Until next time, keep exploring those big questions, and we'll see you in the next one.